Section 5.1, homework problem number 14. This is an example that I did in class. And when we multiply mixed numbers, there is an easier way that we could do is to turn both of them to improper fractions, and then we can multiply straight across, and then you can change it back to a mixed number. But this is what they not ask you to do there. So let's say Amanda, so she thought she could just multiply the whole number and whole number, fraction and fraction to get the answer, which is incorrect. But we want to correct her method. Again, you don't want to start from scratch to show her, okay, you should convert them to improper fractions. You want to take what she already has, which is keeping the whole number and the fractions, and trying to make it correct. And also make sure you answer which property is used in here. Okay, so I'm going to use mine as example. So this is the second solution that I gave in class. So you're not supposed to start from scratch to show her a completely different way. So we're going to try to follow her method. And so the mistake she made is she thought this 3 times 2/3 could be separated and just take the whole numbers from both mixed numbers and multiply, which is incorrect, because 2 and 3/4 means 2 plus, not 2 times. It's 2 plus 3/4, and then 1 and 2/3 is 1 plus. So we have two different operations involved here. Between the two numbers, the operation is multiplication, but inside each number, the operation we have is plus. And notice that in order to do this type of question, we have to use FOIL or the distributive property. So you can first forget about this number right here and distribute it 2. So you get a 2 times 1 and 2 times 2/3. And after we done distributing 2, we're going to put 2 back and we forget about 2. And now we're going to distribute 3/4 to 1, so which is 3/4 times 1. And then distribute 3/4 to 2/3. That's 3/4 times 2/3. I probably shouldn't switch them, but it should be the same answer. Okay, now after that, we are going. Notice that compared to what we have, the correct answer to what she has. So we not only have 2 times 1, the whole number times whole number, but also, we also have the fraction times the fraction, which is this part times that part. And she also has that, but she's missing 2 parts, these 2 parts right there. So you also have to do the whole number times the first whole number times the second fraction, and the second whole number times the first fraction because of the distributive property. So she's missing those 2 in the middle. Okay, so notice that we cannot just multiply whole number and whole number parts and the fractional parts. We have to use the distributive property. So after again, I explained this in class, but I can go over this quickly. 2 times 1 is 2. And to multiply the fractions, you can turn the whole numbers into fractions by putting 1 underneath. So straight across, 2 times 2 is 4, 1 times 3 is 3, 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 1 is 4, and 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 4 is 12. So we're going to get, actually this part I simplified it. You can cancel that. I mean, if you did 6 over 12, you should go ahead and reduce this fraction into 1 over 2. So that's how I got 1 over 2 there. Okay, after you get the these numbers, and the whole number we can stay, but we have to add all these fractions, which we talked about in chapter 3, how to add fractions. So we need to have a common denominator. Notice 3, 4, and 2, they all have a common. All of these 3 numbers can go into 12. For example, we can multiply 3 by 4 to get 12, and 4 times 3 to get 12, and 2 times 6 to get 12. So we're going to use 12 as our least common denominator. So I'm going to take the first fraction, multiply by 4 and 4, and because 3 times 4 is 12, and take the second fraction, multiply by 3, because the 4 times 3 is 3. what you're going to multiply really depends on the denominator. And then we're going to take 2, the denominator 2 times by 6 in order to get 12. And to keep the equivalence of the fractions, we also have to multiply the numerator by the same number. So after we multiply all of these, and again, we talked about what multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same number, it really doesn't change the fraction. So we end up with different fractions, but they're still equivalent to the original ones. And so we have these new fractions here, this which is equivalent to that, and 9/12, which is equivalent to 3/4, and 6/12, which is equivalent to 1/10. Now we can keep the common denominator 12 and add the numerators 16 plus 9 plus 6, which gives us 31. And I turn this into a mixed number, 31 divided by 12, which gives us 12 goes into 31 2 times, so that's a 7. So we can convert this part to 2 and 7/12. And notice there's another 2 part here, so we can, for addition, we can add the whole number and the whole number, because this part literally means 2 plus 7/12. So it's all addition. So we have to add another 2. So I combine a 2 and a 2 to get a 4, and keep the fractional part 7/12. So this is the correct way to multiply mixed numbers by the distributive property. So the property we used is the distributive property. Well, if you want to say FOIL, that is okay, but FOIL is in essence, it's the distributive property.